Hello, Gloria Day family. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all staying healthy. A couple of announcements coming up for this Sunday, November 15. So, as we're looking at the church, we have the ministry center open, and we're going to be able to seat some people in there. So we're excited about that. That means we're going to be able to welcome more people into the building for the services. Now, when you come in, please remember, social distancing. Remember to kind of be very mindful of the people who are around you. And once you're in the ministry center, there are two screens that are up on the wall. If everything goes as planned, one of them will project the worship service, and the other will have the PowerPoint for the service. So you're not going to need a bulletin in there. Everything will be up on the screen for you. Now, after the experience, after you've gone in there and used that for worship, I would really appreciate it if you'd give us some feedback, because this is new, and we want to know how that goes for you. Because honestly, this is also part of what we're thinking about when we look ahead to Christmas Eve. And I'll say a little bit more about that later. So get signed up to come to worship. I know that the services are filling up a lot more quickly all of a sudden now that we're back indoors, and that's exciting and it's great, but it presents us with some challenges in terms of how do we take care of everybody and how do we worship together safely. And I would also remind you that as you think about the building and think about where you are seated for the worship service, if you're in the ministry center, we want you to go out through the kitchen and exit through the kitchen outdoors. If you're in the narthex area, we want you to go out through that narthex door. If you're in the sanctuary, you would go right out the main doors. And if you are down in the Luther room, you would go out next to the old kitchenette, and you can go right outside. And always, if anybody needs to speak to me, please hang around, and I'm more than glad to talk with people after the service and bless any kids or anything like that, that's needed. Now, COVID-19 cases are rising, and I'm guessing that if you did not watch Governor DeWine's presentation the other day, you've certainly heard about it. And one of the things that I want to say right up front as I think about how COVID-19 has played its way out in our congregation is that we have been absolutely blessed. We have been so blessed, and I'm so grateful that we've been very safe. The very few people in the congregation who have gotten sick have gotten better. But as we heard from the governor, as the cases go up and the likelihood of going into purple rises, that's going to raise some challenges for us. And so maybe you're wondering, what am I thinking that we'll do if we get up into purple? And I want to be really clear. If we go into purple, it's my intention that we continue to do ministry, that we continue to have worship services. Now, there are things that we will need to do in order to be able to do that safely. And part of that will probably be some greater distances. It will likely include fewer people in the building at a time. It might mean having more worship services on Sunday morning so that we can spread people out a little bit more broadly. It will definitely mean that we continue our online services. And we're also adding the radio transmitter, which will hopefully be ready this Sunday. We don't know what the range is going to be like or any of that type of thing, but we're really, again, give us feedback, and we're learning as we go. Now, for us to be able to do this, even as the county is in red, for us to be able to do this, looking ahead to the county potentially becoming purple, it's very important for us to be vigilant. It's very important for us to look out for one another. Bad habits creep in. And when we're already dealing with things that are new and foreign and that maybe we don't even want to do, like wearing masks, it's easy to slide. Uh, Honestly, last week, I'm pretty sure that 4 out of the 5 days that I was up here, I forgot to bring a mask. Now, thankfully, I usually get here before there are too many people around, and I have supplies available to me in the office, and in my office, there's often a mask or two that's laying around. But I didn't think about it. I went to the store last week and got there and realized I didn't have a mask, and I had to go home and get one. So, we have to kind of keep our heads on. I was thinking about this, and I love the Harry Potter books. And there's a character in the Harry Potter books by the name of Mad Eye Moody who likes to shout at his students, "Constant vigilance." And I think it's probably important for us, particularly at this time, to engage in some constant vigilance. That means that we have to be very mindful to make sure that we have our masks. It means hand washing. Please wash your hands with soap and water whenever you get that opportunity. We're going to have hand sanitizer up here at the church, but it doesn't work the same, and it's a good supplement. But every once in a while, get that soap bar out and wash them up really good. We have to be mindful of our distance from one another. And that means also thinking about our breathing and our speaking and our singing, to be mindful of the people around us. It means that we're going to be careful about the airflow in the building. We're going to have windows open. We're going to have doors propped open. So you're going to need to dress warmly when you come in here. We're investigating some other options, but we haven't got that figured out yet. But believe me, if we do, we'll be coming back to you and sharing with you about that, and trying to figure out some new ways of doing things that will be a little bit more warm for us as we get through the winter. And speaking of the changing season, we've got some holidays coming up. And we've got Thanksgiving coming up. And the Wednesday before, the day before Thanksgiving, we will have services at noon and at 7. Those will be communion services. So make sure that you register, and we would love to have you up here for both of those. Just come to one, really, honestly. But it'll be the same sermon, promise. Advent services will start the week after Thanksgiving. And again, we're going to offer them at noon and at 7. The idea of the noon service is, well, particularly for the elderly who don't want to go out in the dark. But it also allows us to have people who are coming in during the day who can be more socially distant from one another and have a little bit more space. So please come and avail yourselves of those. Christmas Eve is coming. And on Christmas Eve, we often have 400 or more people in this building. And we're thinking long and hard about how we want to handle Christmas Eve. And I'm not ready to lay out a plan yet for what that's going to look like. But I'm sure that it's going to be somewhat different than what we've done in the past. I'm pretty confident there are going to be more worship services to allow more people to be in the building across the day, fewer at a time. But we've got some figuring out to do with that, and some things that we want to do for those of you who won't be coming in. Because I'm sure that some of you are already looking ahead at Christmas and saying, that's just not an option to be able to come into the building with all the people. And while that saddens me, I totally understand. And please, if that is you and you're looking ahead at Christmas and saying, I'd really like to be part of that celebration, but I'm not going to come in with all the people, and you'd like to receive the Lord's Supper, and this is always the case. If you want to receive the Lord's Supper, call the office, make an appointment. I can come to you. You can come here. I'm very confident that we have that down in a good fashion to be able to bring you the Lord's Supper in a very safe way. There will be a service on Christmas Day, and that will be a communion service as well. That'll be at 10 in the morning. It'll probably be a little bit different than years past, but we're We're working on it. And with all of this stuff that's going on, what are you thankful for? I was reminded of this when I was talking with Joe Solom the other day. Look at everything that's been going on. How has God blessed us that we have something to be thankful for? And I want you to maybe take a moment in the midst of the stress and the angst of what's going on in our community with the pandemic and say, what are we thankful for? And I want to get us started. I am so thankful that every Sunday this summer, we were able to hold worship services outdoors. Did you think about that? There was one Sunday that we moved indoors, and honestly, if I'd just been a little bit more patient, we could have done it outdoors. God blessed us with a beautiful, beautiful summer, and we were able to do so much where we were able to gather outdoors. And I see that as a blessing. So what are you thankful for? You can put that in the comments down below, or send an email, reply to the email that this is attached to, whatever. But God has blessed us, and that's a good thing. And it's a good thing to remember, and it's a good thing to say thank you. God's blessings. I hope I'm going to see you this weekend. And if not, please remember that God loves you, and He will always watch over you and keep you, because Jesus died, rose, and He's coming again. And therefore, everything's going to be okay.